Today, we'll be going on another underground adventure. This is Core Keeper, a pixel graphics sandbox survival simulator. And if you have played Terraria or Minecraft before, this game might feel familiar. Join me as I explore the world of Core Keeper and its recently released 1.0 update. Also, I'll be playing on hard difficulty where monsters are stronger and tougher. One more thing, since Core Keeper doesn't have a night and day cycle, every 10 minutes in the game will be equal to 1 day in this story video. So let's begin this adventure. Alright, so we spawned in the world of Core Keeper. Well, not really, we got teleported down here. Anyways, I started gathering the wood around me so I can make myself some torches. And with the torches, we now have light. It doesn't look that dark anymore down here. First thing I did was gather all the wood that was in the surrounding area. So I lighted the entire place so we have a clear visual on what was around us. And as you can see, there are various statues here. I then started making a bunch of items from the wood I have recently obtained. We now have a pickaxe, a shovel, a workbench, and a bunch more torches. I placed it on the workbench and crafted myself a full set of wooden gears. Look, wooden armor. After gearing up, I started mining around the walls in the area. I needed to look for new materials like ores and food. Currently, I only had like 3 food rations on me, so I really should be looking for more source of food like this glowing tulip right here and these mushrooms. Also, look, I found myself some copper ores. I then found this shrine full of heartberries. So of course, I plundered all the heartberries in the area. I also took the golden one at the center of it all. Wow, lucky on getting these loots. I then had my first encounter with a monster. It was a mushroom. I'm not sure if it has eyes, but anyways, it tried charging at me. So with my bow, I dealt with it pretty quick. Next up, I found myself a bunch of cows down here. They would be a good source of milk, but I don't really need some milk right now. I just destroyed the boxes that was around the area and I found myself a witch doctor's hat. Cool. And so I continued mining for some copper. I wanted to go home, my bags filled with copper ores so I can make a lot of new copper materials. Also, as you can see, my mining reached level 5 and I was able to distribute a point, which increased my mining damage by 2%. I'm not sure if that's significant right now. Anyhow, as I dive deeper and deeper, there were even more monsters here. Also, there are a lot of wood source, so I won't be running out of torches anytime soon. I found myself some new plants like this bomb pepper right here. Also a new type of weapon called the crossbow, as well as a pants called the witch doctor's pants. Actually, I have the full set now. Maybe I should just wear this. I don't really plan on being a summoner, but yeah, it's the only armor set that I've received so far. So yeah, let's just wear it. It's better than our wooden armor right now. I then found an area which I had no access to and I don't know how to access to. So looking at it, it looks like a musical note. So we might need a musical instrument in order to open this gate. But I don't really have anything right now. And now it's finally time to call it a day and go home and craft myself some new stuff. I made myself a chest because my inventory was currently full with all the random loots I've gotten. I then made myself 6 pieces of furnace so I can easily convert all my copper ores into copper bars. So I divided all my copper ores and inserted them all to the furnace. I decided to expand the base a bit while waiting for all my copper ores to process to bars. After my copper bars were done smelting, it was now time to make ourselves a better workbench, which would be the copper workbench, as well as make a cooking pot to cook our food with. Another was a repair and salvage table, so we can salvage the goods we don't need. I also made myself a watering can so we can start planting. I'm just sad that there's no nearby water source, so I need to find a well or something to get some water. And with the copper workbench, I made myself a bag, a fishing rod, an anvil, a lot of stuff basically. With the repair and salvage table, we can now improve our items by reinforcing them as well as repair them. I mistakenly salvaged my reinforced pickaxe, but I can easily make one because I have like a lot of wood right now. But well, I just decided to make a copper pickaxe because mining was our thing right now. In the anvil, I crafted myself a copper helmet. Sing had more armor and health than the Witch Doctor had, and we don't really plan on being a summoner, like I said earlier. Okay, now it's time for our cooking show. So what we're gonna do here is combine our heart berries with our glow tulips. This will get a buff that regenerates our mana. We have a blue glow as well, and plus 25 max health. Next one is the mushroom and bomb pepper. This will be our health regeneration food plus a short burst of movement speed for 1 minute. I then started plowing the land. It was now time to grow all the seeds we've obtained so far in the game, because we'll need a stock of these in order to keep our supplies of food. So yeah, once again, the problem is, where do we find water? But I'm just so glad that I remembered that there was water on the Heartberry Shrine we saw earlier. But hey, it's a pretty far travel. I hate this. I don't want to keep running towards the right side each time I want to refill my water bucket. But I don't really have a choice until maybe we can make a bucket. I continued my hunt for copper as I didn't have a complete armor set yet. Also, there were a lot of stations that needs copper. And look, a chest. Let's go. Sadly, we don't have a key to open this chest. I then found this giant mushroom. Let's go. Also, a lot of my skills have leveled up recently, but there's only one skill I can pick, so I just pick whatever. Also, because of this giant mushroom, we can now get a permanent 25 max health after eating it. Let's go. I eventually discovered the first boss we need to defeat. This was Glurch, the Abominous Mass. And I'm not even gonna try fighting this guy. Not until I have a certain fish that enables me to not slow down when stepping on slime. Also, I want a complete copper armor set first before I fight this guy. So I'm just gonna skedaddle out of here. Upon going home, I made myself the copper pants. Just one more and I can have the complete set. I'm just waiting for my copper ores to smelt into bars and we can make the armor. And with this, we now have a complete copper set. Let's go. I also made a shield just in case I need some help defending myself. And then with fishing, I thought it's finally time that I fish some fish to cook for extra buffs. My goal for fishing is to get the orange cave guppy for that extra mining damage, even though it's only 8, the blue cave guppy for the magic barrier, and the gem crab for that extra armor. So I just let my character fish for now. I installed a mod that does auto fishing. And after a while, these are all the loots I've got. Not that much fish. I only spent like 15 to 20 minutes here, but I did get the fishing equipment that I wanted to get in the starting area. This is one part of the entire fishing set we're gonna try to get in the entire game. Also, I fought 2 giant mushrooms that are basically invulnerable to physical attacks on their stone form. So these guys are gonna be very useful later on. I have plans for them, but for now, I'll just kill them. This will take a while because, as you can see, my damage isn't really that high, but we'll eventually destroy these guys. Just a few more hits. They don't really drop anything important or great. I'm not sure if they drop equipments. I think they do. But more or less, they just drop like 5 pieces of mushroom at most. Oh cool, I got a mushroom hat. Nice. Now I'm like a mushroom. I'm one of them. One of them. One of them. Upon arriving home, I see that my garden was ready for harvesting. So I immediately harvested every crop I had on my garden. I then replanted the seeds that remained. So how this works is, if your gardening level is not yet 25, you'll sometimes lose some seed. But once you reach level 25 in gardening, you will have a skill that will retain most of the time 100% of the seed used in planting. Anyhow, I then cooked the fish that I recently caught, and then resumed my journey collecting even more ores. On my journey to collect iron, I then stumbled upon the Forgotten Ruin. The place I stumbled upon was pretty interesting. There were like a lot of rail tracks here. There wasn't any treasure though, just a couple of boxes, and I didn't really get anything good. Still, we found the Forgotten Ruins. Let's go. I tried digging here, but as you can see, my pickaxe was pretty weak and it takes a while before I actually break a wall. So I gave up the idea for now. Then went home and made myself the glass smelter. With the sands I've collected so far, I can make some glass with this. Also, I've crafted myself a lantern. Now I have an extra light while digging underground. I also crafted myself the electronics table. With this, I can finally craft myself a generator plus a table saw. Not that I need it right now, but it's handy in the future. Continued my mining adventures. I was looking for a specific ore, namely tin. It's the next upgrade to copper. So we're trying to find an area where there are clay, because in clay there are usually a lot of tin. Also, while destroying a random box, I got myself a ranger pants. It looks like the ranger set is really good for us because it adds like one target per projectile. That means I can hit 2 with 1 arrow. So I was aiming for the ranger set if ever I can get my hands on it. It is only obtainable from those boxes, I believe, the big ones and the small ones. So we're gonna have to believe on our luck in order to get one. I then found a giant copper boulder. I can finally start automating collecting copper. But first, we will need a lot of tin in order to make the drills and the other stuff needed to make the farm. Oh, and by the way, we have found the clay caves. So with this, we can now start gathering some tin. As you can see, those are the tins we're looking for. Let's gather a bit and return home for now as my inventory is already full. And while casually mining, I encountered the second boss we need to defeat. As you can see, it's a big boy. Look at that thing just running around in circles. I then grinded a bit by killing a bunch of these larvas. As you can see, I don't think I stand a chance against a horde of them if we were in a normal fighting condition. I need to upgrade on my weapon as soon as I can. Once I'm satisfied with the amount of tin I've gathered, I'll go home and maybe craft myself some better gears. Because I swear, the damage I do to these monsters are basically nothing. I mean, there's something, but it takes a while. Maybe 10 hits or more to even just kill one of these worms. And while breaking some boxes, I found another set item to my ranger set. It's a helmet. Let's go. I then encountered these caveling enemies that wielded spears. Swear to God, they're honestly tough. Just like the larvas, I shouldn't be here yet. I mean, I should be here to collect them, but yeah, I should go home now and like upgrade my gears. They're so strong that I think I'll just die in 2 hits. I think most enemies kill me in 2 to 3 hits. It's crazy how hard mode gives enemies like 100% more attack. Moving on, I dug up an oracle card. This thing is used to craft a certain item, but you will require a lot of other cards. So at least we got 1 out of, I don't know. Anyways, I went back home, processed a bunch of the copper that I've collected so far. Also, the tin that I've collected. About 28 only, but I think that's a lot. We can probably make something out of this. So for now, while waiting, I manage my garden first so I can also level up my gardening skill, as well as expand the amount of food that we have. I had to expand my garden because I've been getting a lot of seeds lately. And after the tins were processed, I was able to make myself the tin workbench. And with this tin workbench, I can now upgrade both my bag and my fishing rod, as well as get myself another pickaxe. And with the iron anvil, I can craft myself something called a slingshot, a way better weapon than our bow. At the very least, we now have a stronger range weapon. I easily used all of the tins I had. That means I would need to look for some more. Damage test on the mushroom. I do a fairly good amount of damage now. Let's go. Anyhow, I continued my adventures in looking for more tin. Also, another damage test on these giant larvas. I can already tell that I'm still not doing a lot of damage, but this is good enough, I swear. At least it's better than the bow earlier. I then discovered the biome for the larvas. It was full of booby traps, but I made sure to check out the ground before I step on these spikes. I found a treasure chest inside here and got myself something called an amber larva. And what it does is it permanently gives me 50 max health. So from 193, I'm not sure why it jumped to 255, but our health increased a lot because of this larva. Also, I got myself this accessory or offhand accessory, a feather that enables me to dash. That's a really useful tool for a ranger like me. I also found this great spot for fishing where no bugs can attack me. So I plan to come back here with the new fishing rod and spend some time fishing. Anyhow, for now I decided to leave the place and continued my search for more tin. And upon returning home, I crafted myself the thin fishing rod, as well as some egg incubators so I can start incubating some eggs. Pets are really good in the game. You can either have a buff pet or a pet that helps you in battle. For my choice, I'm going for a buff pet. It's gonna take a while for these to hatch, but I think once we go on an adventure and come back home again, we should have a hatched egg. Now, while on my journey again towards the hive, I found a waypoint. Now we can teleport to the hive anytime we want. And because that we're in a safe area in the teleport or the waypoint spot, it was time to spend our days fishing. We need both the blister fishes, the yellow and the green one. The green one will prevent you from slowing down on slimes, I believe. And as the yellow one, it will prevent you from taking damage on acid grounds. Aside from that, I'm also looking for the devil worm, which increases our range damage by 23%, I believe. Another thing is an item called the Neptune necklace. We need it for our fishing set. And now, after being AFK for a while, I got myself a lot of goodies. Even 4 pieces of iron chest with 2 pieces of iron key. For the fishes, as you can see, I don't think I'll need to fish here for a while. I have a lot of supply right now. Also, my fishing is now level 56. I'll be focusing on getting more rarities of fishing or having faster fishing bites on skills. So, my eggs hatch and I got some owl pets. I made sure to check their skills if there are any specific skills that I wanted. I'm more onto crit rate or attack speed. So, we'll be looking for a certain bird that has both the range attack speed and the crit rate. Anyways, for my next agenda, I went to the Forgotten Ruins to fish for a certain fish called the Teal Palace fish. It gives like 10% range attack speed. Also, I was looking for a gold fish rings here. It's part of my set. Here are the loots I got after fishing for a while. Also, one of the chests contained a sledgehammer. An iron sledgehammer. Let's go. This thing will make mining so much easier because it destroys a couple of blocks instead of just one. Also, now that I have the buff for the blister fishes, it was now time to face the first boss. Lurch the Abominous Mass. But for now, I cleared up the slimes in the surrounding area. Also, I found the waypoint. Yay, nice. I'll be taking this waypoint later. I'll show you a trick on how to mine this even if your mining damage isn't high yet. Alright, so boss fight time. Glurch isn't really hard to dodge, especially since I'm not gonna be slowed down by the slimes on the ground. He's easily avoidable just by running around, as you can see here. And my damage is amazing. Like, holy, look at that. It's already dead. Let's go. And by defeating Glurch, we have unlocked a new merchant. This guy. We can finally sell our junks to him. For the loots, well, nothing really impressive, but at the very least, I have a blob rosary necklace. Alright, that was fast. I did not expect to be very strong against Glurch. By Glurch defeated and we have obtained the crystals, we have unlocked new types of recipe. Most important thing are the 2 new scanners that would help us locate the 2 other bosses in this area. So first, Gorn. We have already encountered that giant bug that kept moving all around in circles. As you can see in the map, he's constantly moving. The other one is Malugas the Corrupted, and what they look like, you can see the statues. They're the bosses that we're gonna be defeating soon. Also, I made myself an iron workbench and now I had a bucket. That means I can finally get water close to my garden. And that's what I did. I just grabbed water from my bucket, dug some hole besides my garden and expand it so the water will spread. And now we have a water source nearby. I then made a couple of flooring so at the very least our base won't look as dirty as it is right now. I placed a couple of them on the ground before I got bored and decided to harvest the waypoint that we've recently seen at Glurch. How this works is you just basically put a drill that has a lot of mining damage compared to yourself and then power them up with a generator and wait for the magic to happen. And once they're done drilling the portal, you can now have it on your inventory and place it wherever whatever you want. Yay, we have a portable portal now. The problem is we'll need to set up like this each time we want to get our portal back. But that's not really a problem. So I continued making my base look nice by expanding it plus adding even more flooring. And once that was done, it was finally time to wall off the base so no monsters will randomly lurk inside our base. I then added some little holes and placed a door so I could just go in and out anytime. I then made myself a house for the new merchant that we have found recently. All you really need to do is place the item, a bed, some lights, and flooring, and there he is. He suddenly appears there. I then made myself a wood farm. I'll be using a crude drill in order for the growing wood to be harvested each time it kept growing. But for now, this would work because I don't really have enough tin to make more. I then made my way towards Malugas while looking for some iron ores along the way. I honestly didn't want to face the cavelings here yet because I felt I was weak, but it seems like it's fine. But yeah, as you can see, my health went from 100 to like less than 50%. So I should really be careful and not getting hit on these guys. I then found myself a giant iron boulder. So now we can also set up our mining gig right here and we'll have unlimited supplies of iron. Really should go and gather tin so I can start my ore farm. So yeah, after this, I'll go collect a lot of tin. I fought a couple of brute cavelings. They look really dangerous, so I shouldn't really get close to these guys as much as possible. I feel like just one whack of their giant club, I'll be smashed to death. Alright, if you notice, I already have an iron bow. I actually made this earlier because I already crafted myself an iron anvil. I couldn't reinforce it though because I didn't have enough iron. Still, it has higher damage than my slingshot, so this thing was pretty good. So my next mission would be to find the waypoint at Maluga's dungeon, but for now, since I couldn't find it, I just made myself one and returned home. Because I'm always at the verge of death, I decided to craft myself some healing potions. It only heals like 30% though, but that's fine. Anyhow, I continued raiding Maluga's dungeon. I was just here for the loot. I don't really plan on fighting him yet, not until I defeat Gorn. And after diving for a while, I eventually found the waypoint. Now we have our second teleportation circle. We can extract later on once we defeat Malugas. I really hated my defense right now, so I decided to craft the iron armor set. At the very least, the armor set would protect me from getting one shot maybe. I'm just looking for one more part of my ranger set, which would be the armor. Also, I don't plan on using it anymore, not until we can get an upgrade station. So I added a new type of crop in our garden called carrot. It is a stone-like carrot, and it was obtained from the Forgotten Ruins. So the carrot adds more armor than the gem crab, so this is definitely a good food source. Okay, so second boss fight time. It's time to defeat Gorm, the Devourer. As you can see, my bow is already doing a lot of damage to this thing. Not sure why, I did not expect range to be very strong in this game. I went melee in my first attempt because range didn't do as much damage as I wanted it to do. But now that I'm trying to kill Gorn with it, I'm actually doing a lot more damage than when I was melee, I think. Also, I'm trying to kill this guy in a safer distance, and the crit is just amazing. Okay, so just a few more hits, and Gorm the Devourer is dead. Let's go. I got myself a cooking pot armor set, as you can see here. Also, a bag from Gorm. And so, I changed my armor to the cooking pot. Heck yeah, look at me now. My current goal right now was just to mine a lot of tin ores so I can start making my ore farm. Also, another thing was to look for a giant tin boulder so I can also farm that as well. I then inserted the crystal I got from Gorm and got a new recipe for a recall idol and other weapons that I don't really plan on using. Next up, I built another NPC house, this time the one that spawned by Gorge. So now we have access to summoning idols. Now we can summon the previous bosses we have defeated using these idols. So I farm Glurch for his chest. Oh my god. The improvement of my damage now that I have the iron bow is crazy compared to before. It's already dead. And by defeating this Glurch boss, I got myself the final piece to my ranger set. The ranger tunic. Alright, cool. Now we can have extra projectile shots. So I continued firing Glurch. Like I said, I just wanted its chest, so I have a better chest at base. Not those singular chests, but a wide chest. And now, the next goal was to defeat Malugas, the Corrupted. So I journeyed through its dungeon, looking for where we can summon Malugas. I got myself a nice little ring right here that increases my physical range damage by 17%. Oh my god, nice. And after a while of killing a lot of these cavelings inside the labyrinth or the dungeon, I finally found where we can summon Malugas. So first things first, I destroyed all the obstacles in the surroundings, so we'll have more space when fighting Malugas. I then returned home, and with the crystal shards that I've gotten from killing a lot of cavelings, I then crafted a bunch of the summoning idols for Malugas. The skull of the corrupted shaman. And once I was ready and buffed up, I then summoned Malugas. So in this fight, I brought along a watering can because he has this attack where he burns the ground. We can easily remove the burn by watering it with our watering can. But I think it's just a waste of time doing that. I can easily just avoid all its attacks. Alright, so my plan is just to stay as far as I can from this guy and also avoid all the fires in the ground. Fire attacks are easily avoidable as long as I have a certain distance from him. And slowly enough, we'll be able to defeat him soon. My damage is honestly pretty nice. Look at this. It's already dead. Let's go. But joke, there's actually a second form. So now we have a problem. The field is full of fire, so we need to be careful where we step as we dodge his punching attacks. So his punching attack is, well, it looks really threatening. I feel like it's gonna deal a lot of damage if it hits me. But as long as it doesn't hit me, then there's no problem at all. So a few more hits and we should be able to defeat Malugas. Just look at that smash attack he does. Anyways, we have... Wait a minute. There we go. We have defeated Malugas the Corrupted. And I got his crystal plus 2 magical staffs and an oracle card. Cool. And since I had a lot of summoning item for him, I decided to kill him for the second time. Because the reinforcements on my bow was already running out, I can't really stay here for long. I need to go home and reinforce this again and try to kill him again if I want to. And yeah, he dropped my most favorite offhand item in the game. Sadly, it only gives like magical damage, so it's not really good for us right now. So this is the Rift Lens. It basically enables you to blink. See how cool it is? But yeah, it's for magic users, and I'm a ranger right now. Killed him for the third time, and he dropped a necklace and a ring. The ring is going to be very useful for the attack speed. From that, the armor set, we don't really use it. It's for mage. So yeah. I then went home and placed the crystal on Maluga's statue. And we have unlocked 3 new recipes. One is for a dagger, another is for an ancient hologram, and a blue leather tome that gives magic damage and mana regeneration. So for this hologram, we'll be needing this thing in order to craft the scanner for the next bosses we need to kill. Also, by defeating the 3 bosses, we have awakened the core. It then told us we can now pass the gate that has been blocking this inner area. So we can now go to the next biomes. Alright, so before that, I'll do a lot of things that I need to do here before we proceed to the next zones. I then place down the hologram and this guy appears. So what this guy does is he can craft new scanners for us. So we crafted a scanner for the Hive Mother, an optional boss in this playthrough. I need to farm this Hive Mother as it is a great source of weapon experience. We need to level up our weapon skills in order to become stronger for the next areas. I then went to the west side of the map until I saw a giant gate blocking the entire biome to the next biome. So this was the gate that the core was talking about. Now we have the ability to remove this, and as we touch it, it was gone. Teleported back home to report to the core. Upon reaching home, I totally forgot about the core and set up my tree farm first. I added some conveyor belts so all the items that would drop would lead to the center where I can easily loot it. I then grabbed all of the portals in Maluga's dungeon. So now we have 2 extra portals. Let's go. Alright, so remembering the main task in hand, it seems the wilderness in Azeus resides in the east from here. Alright, cool. Let's go to the east. Also, another thing, I'm not sure, I totally forgot why I salvage, but I got an early access to this sprinkler right here, but I only had one, so I had to make use of this like this, where I just place it around until it waters everything. I'm not sure, maybe the watering can is faster, but whatever. To make even more sprinklers once I have access to scarlet bars. I then made the setup for the mining farm on the copper. So as you can see here, we have about 8 drills, and this should make us an unlimited supply of copper. Come back once I've explored the wilderness, I guess. For now, I focus on going to the Hive Mother instead of going to Azea. Since I already had a full set of the ranger gear, I wanted to level up my range skills first before I proceed to the next area. So this is the Hive Mother, and I initiated the fight. I don't really have that much high damage in order to kill it fast, so this works well. Also remember the blister fishes, I don't really take damage on the acid ground, so I don't have anything to fear in this fight. Maybe only if I screw up and like forget to dodge or something, or yeah, the bugs touch me or something, then that's when we are in trouble. For now, I just repeat this process of shooting the Hive Mother again and again, around and around, and killing its spawn. This will surely give us a lot of range experience to level up. And this is what I mean when accidents happen. The exploding bugs one-shot me. Anyhow, I grabbed my loot and continued the grind. I decided to just kill the Hive Mother for now, as I can just buy the summoning items anyways. And it's not really that expensive, it's only 500 coins each. As for the loot, I had nothing I needed from this guy. For now, I made a safety area where I can place my portal at the Hive Mother so I can access this place anytime I want. I then resummoned the Mother so I can continue my grind. Currently, I'm at level 35 in range combat. Eventually got tired of fighting the giant bugs, so I eventually headed east, and here we arrive at the Azea's wilderness. I'm gonna be needing to kill a lot of these purple slimes because we'll be needing the scanner to find the boss, or if we're lucky enough, find the boss for free. Actually got really lucky because not long in I found a giant scarlet ore. Now we can start our farm here. Nice. So I cleaned up the area, made a portal, and I will return home in order to get all the items needed to set up the farm. I also dug up a ground surrounding me so I can place down water here and start fishing to farm for the fish. Then expanded my base because I needed a bigger garden. I have more seeds now and we have access to sprinklers. This is my garden so far, and I can't wait to expand this further so we can level up our gardening skills even faster. I had about this much seed collected so far. That's kinda a lot. So I did the same thing as I did earlier. I just moved the sprinkler from one area to another because I only have 2 at the moment. Next up, I started setting up my scarlet ore farm. Also, I made it so that there will be an automatic system that would smelt the ores that had been mined from this setup. So this is what happens. The mechanical arm will grab the ore and place it at the smelter, but oopsies, I forgot to add wires. Okay, so this is how it works. So every time I come here, I'll just get the bars. And now that's out of the way, the next thing is to set up my fishing area so I can just AFK fish while waiting for all these ores to smelt. Alright, so it's time for fishing. I honestly didn't have any fish I needed here. The stats aren't for my range build. However, I just wanted to AFK so this thing can mine me the scarlet ore because I am lazy, and as I come back, I'm hoping to get some scarlet chests and keys. Alright, so after I came back from being AFK, these are the loots that I got. I got the scarlet hand drill, probably the best thing I got from fishing here. Also, 1 chest and 1 key. Insides of the chest wasn't really that good, but I'm pretty happy with the bars that I got. Also, the bars I obtained from waiting is about 29 pieces, so I guess that's good enough. Upon going home, I made myself the scarlet crossbow, an upgrade to our iron bow, but it seems like my iron bow is way better because it has a 17% increase in like range damage, and I easily just salvage that. So one thing we can do is make the upgrade station so we can continue using the bow, but for now I just crafted the more essential things like a backpack and a better lantern. Actually, I had enough to make myself the upgrade station, so I started upgrading my ranger set. This is gonna be the set I'll be using for a while. The extra projectile really does help a lot, especially if there's a lot of monsters that are trying to kill us. And take a look at my garden. I finally have one sprinkler each. I don't need to keep moving my sprinklers from one area to another. I couldn't really continue upgrading my ranger set because I was lacking in tin. So I decided to farm tin for now at the clay caves. And I really need to find a giant tin boulder so I can just automatically farm it. And here it is. I found it. So I just need to make a setup where it will automatically farm. But I will also need a lot more waypoint gates so I easily can get here. I also found a giant gold boulder. So now we're set. We have all the current ores. We have copper, tin, iron, gold, and scarlet. Upon returning home, I then expanded my garden some more because I really wanted to speed level up my gardening skills. I had to move my tree farm besides it. Not really a problem. It's not really that hard to set up. Alright, so with this, it's done. I just don't have enough seed to fill up all my garden. My next agenda was I got isekai to another world because I'm gonna steal the waypoints in this other world. It seems I can't get the one at the starting area, sadly. I look around and search for Glurch. So basically every boss has a nearby waypoint. So since Glurch is here, we can look for the waypoint close by. Didn't take long for me to find it, so now all I need to do is extract it. And now I have an extra portal. Let's go. I'll need about 5 of these in total, I believe. I want to place one on my tin, my gold, my bronze farms. So I guess just 3. So the extra 2 is just for, extra. So how this works is I'm just gonna copy paste the isekai seed. Since I already know where that portal is, I can easily just go there and get the other portal. Like I said, I continue doing this until I have about 5 of them. Alright, time for our farm. So I set up an iron farm, the tin farm, and actually I ran out of tin first before I could finish everything, so I had to mine for more tin. So I just did some other tasks like gardening while waiting for my tin to smelt in the furnace. I then slowly progressed to automation on smelting the iron and the other ores with the available materials I have, of course. I have about 2 tin setups so we can further increase this process. So that one down there and this one up here. And we have the gold farm. I'm still waiting for enough tin to come my way so I can finish this setup. And lastly, we have the bronze one. I know I already made one earlier, but I removed all those parts and moved it to the tin farm. Yeah, this is gonna be my copper farm. I don't really need that much copper, but it's always nice to have something that keeps supplying you with the copper bars. So I'm just putting like 3 drills here. It's the only thing I can afford right now, and I think it's enough to give me an unlimited supply of copper. Okay, now that the farms are done, it's time to upgrade my gears. So for now, I decided to craft the iron bow again, and I will upgrade it to scarlet level. Because we now have an upgrade station, I can easily upgrade my bow to scarlet level. Basically level 9. Also, I have an idol here. It's called the Crown Idol that enables me to summon the Terraria boss King Slime. So I fought King Slime. As you can see, it's tanky as heck. Glurch isn't even as close as this thing. I think it rather has a similar attack pattern to Glurch, but it spawns more slimes. I don't really recall if Glurch spawns slimes. But anyways, it kept spawning like blue slimes whenever it hops. So this is a great way to level up our range abilities as well. Anyways, it didn't take long for me to half its HP, and it's almost dead as you can see here. Honestly, the ranger set is really nice. If you can see like more damage with 1 arrow, it means that the projectile +1 is working, and it's really amazing as you can see. We can hit like 2 targets in 1 shot. It's amazing. With that, we have defeated the King Slime. For the rewards, I got myself a egg plus a royal gel and a King Slime crown. Since I'm wearing a set, I don't really want to change this armor set right now. I then upgraded all the other gears I'm wearing currently. All I really need to do now is be patient for the farms to make the bars for me, then I can upgrade most of my gears. And now I decided that while waiting, I'll just farm the Hive Mother for some range experience points. It's a more optimal way of farming this, but yeah, this works. I actually enjoy shooting the Hive Mother like this. I have a safety area if ever things get dangerous. I just switched to my fisherman set, which has the teleporting offhand item. So yeah, I could just shoot them down like this from afar. And anyways, I continued this farm for a while waiting for my bars to be made. Here are my current skill level. We have level 52 in range now. Alright, so it's time to collect all the bars we've made so far. Yeah, I made a lot, but not enough to fully upgrade my armor set right now. I could just leave my PC on while I do this, but yeah, it's time to resume my journey in the wilderness now. Well, actually, I ran out of devil worms, so I need to fish on acid water. I made a little fishing area in my base where I can safely fish here without any monsters disturbing me. I didn't fish at the Forgotten Ruins. I still needed the goldfish ring here. I never got one. So I'm gonna AFK for a bit. And this is what I got so far. And I got the ring. So we're done here. Also, I maxed out fishing. Now we have a skill that says 6% of fishing is added as range damage. 30% on max. So that's like 30 damage in total since we have like an extra 100 points in fishing due to our skill being level 100. I then fully upgraded my gears now that I had enough materials. So we're now ready to resume our adventure in Azeos Wilderness. Actually, not yet. I decided to try leveling up magic. I was very curious. So using the ranger set, magic is also considered a projectile. So I have an easier time leveling up my magic, but every time I run out of mana, I just use my bow for now. So I'm leveling up 2 weapons at the same time, magic whenever I have mana. But it runs out really fast though, that's a problem. Plan on doing this until my magic reaches like level 30. There's a certain skill that every time we crit, we're gonna be getting our mana back. So that's the level I'm aiming for. So that way, maybe we can level up magic faster. And finally, we reach level 30 in magic. And we now have mana channeling. So we recover like 2% mana each time we crit. I can already see the usefulness of this. I'm even planning to convert myself to a magician now because of this. It looks really fun. And I really love the offhand weapon of blinking. So I'm really considering on playing a mage run instead of a ranger run. Just look at that magical bolt. It's crazy. I eventually reach a point where I'll never run out of mana because I crit a lot. As you can see here, my mana just keeps recovering to full. So now that we're done here, we'll need to hunt for a mage armor set. That means we'll need to fight Malugas again. Also, I added this fish to our diet. It gives like 21% magic damage for 10 minutes. I was farming Malugas for this soaring armor set. It's the only mage set I know aside from the apprentice set that we can get earlier. I think the soaring set is better because of the movement speed. And with this last skill, I finally found the last piece, the headgear. Let's go. Then upgraded it to the max level I could. Also crafted myself some swift rings because I didn't have any other ring that would help me with being a mage. Now my next goal now was to locate a mold dungeon. I'm trying to get mold rings. They can either be dropped from the monsters in the mold dungeon or can be obtained from the chest there. So that's my goal. Also, I needed like the moldy water so I can start farming the fish there as well. For the goal of this Azeos Wilderness, we'll be needing, I believe, 10 of the blue feathers in order to craft the scanner so we can locate where Azeos is, the first Titan boss we're gonna defeat. I'm very happy to find a mold dungeon very close to where my Scarlet farm is. Well, as you can see, it's like crowded with monsters. I feel so weak for some reason. I couldn't display the same amount of power I did when I was fighting the Hive Mother. So I guess maybe the ranger set was doing better than the soaring set because I have like the extra projectile. And I think the ranger set would be better here since there's a lot of mobs. Maybe I should consider changing my armor set for now while I farm the mold rings. Guys, I continued farming the mold dungeon until I eventually find 2 pieces of the mold rings. Mold rings give like crit % chance. and I need crit rate in order to recover my mana. I then made myself another fishing spot on base, but this time with mold water. In order for me to have an easier time exploring the mold dungeon, I'll need to get something called a rotten fish. It's important to prevent the mold infection because when you're infected, you get slowed down. My other goal here is the black urchin that can provide both armor and thorn damage. Lastly, the kelp mantle for our fishing set. After I came back from my fishing session, these are the loots I got. I already got the kelp mantle and a lot of other fishes that I need in this adventure. I then cook a bunch of extra food that I had that I don't use anymore in order to level up my cooking skill. Okay, after all those shenanigans, it was finally time to resume the adventure. It took a while, but I finally found my first mold ring. So one more to go and we'll be done here. I then eventually got lazy of putting my ores in their rightful smelter, so I decided to automate it like this. So if I drop a scarlet ore and it doesn't work with the other smelter, it will just push it through to the next area. And if a smelter is occupied, it will push it through to the next one. Yeah, this works well, but it's gonna be slow since it's gonna be smelting in just one area. Also, once it's done smelting, it'll put it on that red chest over there. Hell yeah, for automation, let's go. I then continued raiding the mold dungeon because I was still lacking that one more mold ring. And finally, after killing this group, I got the last mold ring I needed. Hell yeah, we'll never be running out of mana anytime soon. I then got pretty lucky because the next slime boss, the poison slime, was pretty close to where I entered this place. You can see the tremors, it's jumping. So now I did not need to spend a lot of purple slimes in order to locate it. We found him already, let's go. I also located the waypoint, so everything's good. All that's left is to defeat the boss. For now, I decided to do a lot of miscellaneous things like gardening, upgrading my gears with all the scarlet bars I've collected so far. And once I was ready, I buffed up and immediately headed over to Ivy, the poisonous mass. I believe that's his name. Alright, so this guy is similar to the other giant slimes. He just bounces and bounces, but sometimes he does a poison barrage like that. Not really a problem though. We are immune to slow down from slimes. So it's not really that hard to avoid this guy. If only I had cleared the arena, I would have an easier time. But yeah, as you can see, it's not really much of a problem. We can just teleport out if ever we're in danger. I also constantly buff myself with movement speed so I can reserve my teleport only in desperate times where, just like that, I almost got hit. So yeah, I sort of got the teleportation is OP. I love it. Anyway, just a few more hits. Ivy should be dead. And I swear to God, these random lines in the surrounding are annoying. Because, yeah, I know I have a very low defense. And since this is hard mode, they probably only two-shot me. So as much as possible, I'll avoid them. I do have my magic barrier now, though, thanks to the soaring armor set. So it shouldn't be that bad. Anyways, Ivy is dead. And for the drops, I didn't really get anything that I would use. But I'm still very happy to get the purple slime because with the purple slime, we can make potions. Anyways, I decided to kill it again because I wanted to see if I can get any item that I might use, as well as leveling up my magic skill. So after defeating Ivy, it was now time to resume our journey in collecting 10 feathers so we can locate where Azeus is. And after I got all the 10 feathers, I made the scanner and scanned wherever the heck Azeus the Sky Titan was. And it seems like he was pretty far from where we were trying to look for him. Anyhow, now that I know where he is, it was time to drill through or go towards where he was. I eventually reached my destination, but first off, we need to find where the waypoint is. And once that I've found it, it's time to make its summoning item, then we can fight Azeus. For now, more gardening, as I need the gardening skill. The gardening skill contains a certain passive which increases your crit hit damage, and I want that. So for the cooking, I plan to just sell all of these, the ones that I don't use, to the merchant. They sell pretty well and would give me a lot of money. I also upgraded my potion to the greater healing potion, which heals like 40% compared to the previous one, which only heals like 30%. Now that I'm ready, it was now time to summon Azeus. Alright, so Azeus does like this lightning attacks, and all I need to do is avoid them. So this is gonna be an easy fight because we have our teleport offhand item. So I can easily just teleport to the other side if I'm in an emergency. I won't be misusing my teleport just randomly. I want to save it for dangerous situations. Also, it summons blue rocks like those and it uses it to heal itself. So I need to focus on destroying the rocks before it heals itself. And just like that, I teleported because I had no escape from there. Honestly, at this point, I'm just praising the teleport again and again because I really love the skill. I like it. I like how they added this item. It's the best. Anyways, just a few more hits and the enraged Azaleas should be dead, but it keeps summoning rock and disturbs our attempt to kill it. Anyways, a few more hits. Let's go. So, almost dead. Almost there. Yeah, even if I have a really high crit hit chance, if my magic doesn't hit, I won't be able to crit and won't be able to regenerate mana. Anyways, with this, we have defeated Azaleas and obtained our first ever Titan Soul. And what Azalea's Soul does is whenever you crit with a melee hit, there's a 10% chance that you can summon the lightning attack that he does. And that's pretty awesome. For the loot, there was really nothing I was interested in. Currently, my gears are, I guess, the best at the moment in terms of my build. Actually, the necklace is pretty good for my mining set. Hey, let's go. Alright, so for the next boss, we need to go to the Sunken Sea, in which Amaroth resides. It can be found on the north from here. Alright, let's go to the north. But first, I built another area where another NPC can be summoned. So this is the Fisherman NPC where we can buy some bait. So now, even though the core said to head north, I remember there was a sea at the west, so I went west. So we now arrive at the Sunken Sea. And for the enemies here, these are the blue or the slippery slimes. And they're very annoying once they hit you. Even the bubbles, when they hit, they're very annoying because it makes you slip. I hate slipping in this game. You basically lose control of your character because it's so hard to control when you're slipping. I really hate the mechanic. As much as possible, I avoid getting hit from any of these enemies. So there are two goals here. One would be to get a lot of blue slimes in order to make the scanner. And another one is to get, I think, 20 pieces of seashells in order to make the scanner for Amaroth, the next titan we need to beat as well. After going home, I then made myself an extension on my tree farm. This time, we'll be making the coral tree farm. We will need a lot of these corals and convert them into planks to make the new stations in the future. Also, some boats. Also, I then built myself a ocean water fishing area. So it's time to AFK fish once more. Alright, it's time to fish. Basically, all the fish that I can loot in the ocean is very helpful to me right now. We have both the silver and the golden dart that gives about 31% crit hit damage and 11% dodge chance. The pink and white Cora Lotto that gives about 50 max mana, 36 magic barrier, and about 15% mining speed. And lastly, the bottom tracer that gives about 2.8 mana every second. For the item, I just need the diving helmet here to add to my fishing gears. And after a while of fishing, this is what I got. I got myself an octarine hammer, 2 chests, a diving helmet, and a lot of fish. Let's go. Okay, I then decided to kidnap a bunch of these giant stone mushrooms because in the future, I can use them as weapon experience. Because when they're on their stone form, you can easily level up using them. So I got this idea from 2Z Point. Instead of like getting the hologram thingy, I guess, to summon them, I'm not really far in the game yet. I'll just wait till I encounter some or lure some here and trap them here and then I can farm them. Alright, it was now time to go back to the Sunken Sea and collect the slimes plus the shells. Also, of course, the octarine ores that we need in order to progress. I then discovered this thing that had like a golden fish. I was hoping that I have finally found a dungeon here so I can start collecting some mage items from the mage enemies there. But I was wrong. It was just this fish here. I then found a giant octarine ore boulder. So it was now time to set this place up into a farm. We now have a thing that would give us unlimited supplies of octarine. Let's go. So I wasted no time and immediately set up the farm. I made it so that there were 2 smelters since I'm using red drills now. Anyways, continuing with our adventure. It's time to look for that giant slime and Amaroth. I never really needed a boat here because I can always just use all the blocks that I've mined so far from the start of the game. Also, I found this giant dragon or maybe a serpent bone surrounded with a lot of shells plus a chest. I got myself a spine ring that increases my damage against bosses by 28%. That's a pretty good accessory. Eventually stumbled upon the dungeon that I was looking for. It was full of these mage cavelings. So I'm hoping that they would drop their armor. Maybe they're better than the current armor I'm wearing. So inside these caves were these golems and they hit pretty hard. So I must make sure that I avoid most of their attack. But oh my god, there's so many enemies inside here. I'm not sure why. They just decided to stack on this area. No problem, I can just slowly defeat them one by one. See that damage right there? I'm basically 3 hits. Unless I don't have any magic barrier, then I'm just 2 hits. And from my killings and exploration, I found myself this thing called the Scholar's Cloak. And honestly, I can already tell that this is better than the current armor set I'm wearing. I then found this giant broken core. But before I can interact with it, 2 mages tried to hunt me down and I got myself the Scholar's Hood. Nice. We now have 2 out of 3. Okay, going back. Upon interacting with the core, I got this overwrite transcript. It says it's a unique component. Another item I found was a string. I almost ignored it, but good thing I came back because it looks really rare. So I was curious. And upon looting it, it was an energy string. It's one of the pieces or parts that I need in order to craft the legendary bow. So that's pretty cool. Nice. I now have these pieces. Also, I changed my armor set to the new one I recently found. And I look pretty cool. I look like a stronger version of myself than earlier. This dungeon was pretty huge, so it took a while before I actually finished exploring this place. But it's fine because I was looking for a couple more armor set that these guys were dropping. Also, I was hoping that they would drop their staff so I can try using it. So yeah, aside from the Scholar set, they also dropped this thing called the Sorcerer set. That's one of the things I want to farm these cavelings for. Anyways, after all that farming, I finally had enough to make the scanner for the slime boss, Morpha. And so I scanned the underground and finally located Morpha. He was just directly above me or north from me. Alright, cool. I was exploring somewhere very far from Morpha. But at the very least, we now know where he is. So I, of course, made my way to Morpha. Also, I got myself a summoning item called Tome of the Deep. I can summon a jellyfish that circles around me. I did get distracted though because there was another dungeon just towards Morpha, so I decided to explore this one first before we go to Morpha. And after reaching where Morpha was, all I need to do now was locate the waypoint. And finally, I found the waypoint. Okay, so now it's time to prepare for the fight. Okay, so I decided not to prepare and just fought Morpha, the aquatic mass. So all I really need to do is just shoot my staff and back away. Just keep doing this until it dies. And look at that. Okay, I'm gonna chase after him whenever he tries to stop. But as you can see, it's very easy to avoid, especially if you're ranged. You can just avoid all the slippery stuff and avoid the bubbles. And just continuously shoot Morpha with your ranged weapon. And we're already at half health, just a bit more, and Morpha should be dead. I like it when he does the bubble attack because he can't really do anything to it. So a few more hits and it should be dead. Okay, that was kind of dangerous, but yeah, we avoided it. We're fine. And with that, we have defeated Morpha, the aquatic mass. Let's go. For the loot, I got an armor and Morphos ring, which increases critical damage. So if ever we'll have more, let's say, critical chance, I guess I'll change my ring to Morphos ring for more critical damage. Also, I finished collecting all the seashells we need, and now it's time to scan where Omoroth is. So initiating the scan. Oh my god, he's kind of far but near from where we searched at the beginning. Alright, cool. And so I made my way towards Omoroth. But I got sidelined again because I found another dungeon. I'm gonna explore this first before continuing to Omoroth. And after searching the entire place, I didn't get anything rare. So yeah, I think I wasted my time. Anyways, it's time to go and fight Omoroth. After arriving at the destination, first things first, it's time to find the waypoint. And after finding the waypoint, it's time to make the boss area on our advantage. By basically adding a landfill to the area so we have an easier time moving around. Alright, so after crafting the bait and equipping the bait, it's time to summon Omoroth. So immediately after I summoned Omoroth, I equipped my teleportation thing on my fishing set and switch over to my mage set. So yeah, this fight is gonna be just me avoiding the tornadoes. Because when he spawns his tentacles, because we have a landfill, it immediately dies. But it will open up the land. So that's kind of a problem. Just a bit. Also, another problem here is that the tornado actually sucks me towards them. So I need to make sure that I avoid them at all costs because they hurt a lot if I get hit. You can see that, right? 330 damage. It destroyed my magic barrier instantly. Like, what even is a magic barrier at this point? Anyways, our damage is just so good. Almost already dying. Like, a bit more hit and he will die. I'm pretty amazed how much we crit right now. And it's like 700 per hit in a rapid fire succession. Omoroth stands no chance. But yeah, the amount of tornado he's throwing is a lot right now. So I need to be careful here. Anyways, with this, we have defeated Omoroth. Let's go. And we got our second Titan Soul. This one is actually really good for us since we're doing range attack. So basically, we have a 3% chance of summoning a tornado. Also, I got an armor and a pants from Omoroth as well as a necklace. This is gonna be good for our mining set. You can see here, my mining set is pretty bad because the ideal of mining set can be found in the Desert of Beginnings, which is the next area we're gonna go to. So this would work for now. We have a lot of damage from this. I mean, mining damage from this. Alright, so Mr. Egg says the Desert of Beginning, in which Raakar resides, can be found to the south from here. Cool. But for now, I decided to kidnap a bunch of mushroom first to my den of giant mushrooms in the future. Just luring them one by one whenever I encounter some and just dig up a hole so they can't escape. So now we have two. Once we have multiple, we can actually start grinding for our weapon experience. I actually did not stop there and continued kidnapping a bunch of these mushrooms. I have about 4 of them now. I'll continue to add more, but I think 4 is already enough to start grinding for summoning level or other weapons. So I equipped a gear which gives me more unit to summon and started grinding both my magic and summoning. I can just easily spam it like this. They will die eventually, as you can see. Even if we're doing just 1 damage, they will eventually die. So I need to stop at some point and let them reset their HP and continue doing this. So to level up my skills. I continued adding more and even added railings so they will be pushed to the left side so I have an easier time hitting them. I lure them to the right so I can put the rails. It's a dangerous job because I will die in just a few hits. Anyways, here's the full setup I went with. I also tried leveling my melee because there's a certain skill in melee that would help boost our attack against bosses. Basically, I need to reach about level 80, 85 or something, or maybe 100. Yeah, I was doing this for a while. I look at my melee at 61 and my summoning at like 53 already. I got tired of leveling up my skills and decided to head south now so we can visit the Desert of Beginnings. And upon arriving at the Desert of Beginnings, I was greeted with a lot of galaxite ores, so I was very happy to mine this. Wow. I then went home and made myself some Fury Forge so I can start smelting these 15 pieces of galaxite ores. So my next goal right now was figuring out how to automate this thing so I can just insert the ores inside and have it get smelted. So for my plan to work, I actually needed to expand my base. So that's what I'm doing right now. So this is the final product. So as you can see here, there are 3 Fury Forges, a lot of those hand clamps, because the Fury Forges are just so big, so I have to do it like this. This isn't really optimized, but if it works, it works. Anyways, continuing on at the Desert of Beginnings, my goal would be to look for a giant boulder of galaxite. I can also start the automatic farm for galaxite. I stumbled upon an oasis of sort here, and there was this volcano at the center. There was really no point of this. It looks pretty. So for the monsters here, there was this red scarab that if you do too much damage to it, it will explode itself. Also, our goal here is to collect about 50 pieces of those red things you see in the floor so we can make the scanner for Rakar. As well as, I believe, 120 pieces of magma slimes, but I haven't found a volcano yet. I eventually found the volcano, and it was now time to explore this thing because I really want the mining set that the volcano gives. Now I'll return home because I needed to rebuff myself as well as store some items. Inside this volcano caves, the slimes weren't really a problem. They were easy to deal with. The only problem I have here are the butterflies that shoots fire. And oh my god, I discovered 2 giant galaxite boulders right here. Amazing. It was now time to clean this area up and set up the mining farm. I also made sure to add automation on smelting these ores. So I had like 2 Fury Forge here ready to smelt these things. Now that I have found the galaxite boulders, it's now time to set up our fishing farm. But first, I decided to explore the cave because I wanted the mining set, as I said earlier. Also, I can't believe that the next slime boss was actually just here at my location, somewhere deep inside, which I can't see yet. I felt a tremor while exploring the place, and I knew that the boss was here. And upon returning home, a lot of my galaxite has already turned to bars, so it was now time to make a new working table and anvil. With this new workbench, I can make the galaxite fishing rod. Now I can fish in lava. For my mining set, I only got the pants, a black rings, and a black necklace, which I stored at the storage for now because there's no point unless it's a complete set. So I continued my killings in the volcano in hopes to get the items I need for the mining set. I eventually stumbled upon the waypoint here. So now all we need to worry about is killing the slime boss. I think the name was Ignis or Igneous. Right, I also found this galaxite hammer. Now I one-shot basically the Desert of Beginnings walls with my mining set. For the miner's helmet, I'll need to fish in lava. There's only a 0.53% chance of it dropping from fishing. So this is basically the set for now. I'm just missing the helmet. I'm only wearing 1 black ring as I feel like the topaz ring is better. Anyhow, since my galaxite farm is making bars for me, I will now go and fish. All the fish here are important as well. I have the solid spikebacks that gives like 38 armor, 50 thorn damage, 78 max health, and 206 mining damage. Brown Doontail that gives like 14% range attack speed. Craziest fish I know that gives like 50% more damage. The Tornus Kingfish. So yeah, those are the fish I'm aiming for here. Nothing else. Basically everything that we can get from the Desert of Beginnings water. After coming back from my AFK session, just look at the amount of fish I got. Also, I got like 4 galaxite chests as well as 1 singular key. But we can just easily make the key with our key molding area. I also got a card and a puppet ring that increases our max minion count by 1. This is going to be great for leveling up our summoning. Alright, so for our next agenda, lava fishing. Okay, first, we have the Elder Dragonfish and the Verdant Dragonfish. One gives like 14% critical hit chance and immune to burning. And the other one gives like 41% critical hit damage. We have the lava eaters here. The bright lava especially, it gives like 21% more healing from health over time regeneration, like our burrito on our 9 hotkey bar. Also, this dark lava eater, 7 life on melee hit. I plan to get the magical sword that drops from the mummies. This one is gonna be useful once we got that sword. And lastly, the Starlight Nautilus, which gives like 7% critical hit. I ignored the 8.5% melee and range attack speed as it overrides with a Doontail. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, from experience, I think it overrides it. Unless I eat it first, then the Doontail. Alright, so after fishing for a long time, I did not get the miner's helmet, but I did get a lot of fish, and I'm satisfied. I had to reorganize my food, so how I buff up, if you're curious, is I place them on a chest, swap my hotbar with the food, so I can eat them one by one. So every food has like a 10 minutes timer. And then I just replace it back again with the current hotbar I have, so I have an easier time like noticing what I was missing. The cheese is an extra because it's the Pafungi that reduces damage from bosses. Anyways, now that I'm buffed up, it's time to fight Igneous. First though, I need to take care of all the random mobs on the background. They're more dangerous than Igneous, I swear to God. If I fight Igneous one-on-one, I have no distractions and I should be able to avoid its attack fairly easily. The butterflies are the most annoying ones, I swear, because they do like half my HP if I didn't have my magical barrier. So I'm just glad I have the magical barrier. So once I clear all of these annoying mobs, I will 100% dedicate myself to Igneous. I'm already dying though because these dang butterflies are so strong and accurate. Anyways, I'm just glad that Igneous stopped attacking me. Alright, so now that everything's down, I'll just harvest all the slime balls on the ground and start the fight with Igneous. Alright, it's time for battle. So as you can see here, all I need to do with Igneous is avoid his fireball. It's pretty random at times, so I should be alert at all times. And then I just need to avoid its stomp. I'm immune to burning because of my new verdant fishes. So I don't really need to worry about stepping on lava. I also have that immune to slow, so I don't get slowed by the lava. So all we really need to do now is pay attention to Igneous Fireball and Stomp, and also destroy if ever he summons some glowing lava balls or something. Those lava balls heal Igneous if ever they reach him. Those lava balls. Yeah, if he ever hits those, he will heal. So as you can see, we're almost done with this fight. I swear to God. Fish buffs, this game is winnable very easily as long as you have the right fish to eat. And with that, we have defeated Igneous. And so I fought him again because why not? Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my 100 days in Core Keeper. Make sure to click that like and subscribe button. Part 2 will be coming soon. We have already spent 100 days in this current playthrough, so the next 100 days should finish all the remaining bosses as well as the new 1.0 content bosses. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye now.